Good afternoon to each and everyone. So this is our presentation for our study development of participatory ecotourism plan for the mangrove forest of Sasmuan, Pampanga coastal wetlands. So I am Gerald M. Salas, and together with my team, Mr. Nathaniel B. Supan, Ms. Evelyn B. Kahupom, Engineer Russell A. Rivera, and Dr. Rafael R. Rafael. So wetland is considered as the most productive ecosystems in the world as they support substantial biodiversity from microbes to mammals. Located in the province of Pampanga, Sasmuan Pampanga coastal wetlands is an important ecological resource that requires conservation and protection. The area consists of expansive mangrove forests, mangrove islet, and surrounded with mudflats that serve as habitats for various arthropod species and sanctuary for a wide array of birds. It is also where the Sasmuan Bangkong Malapad Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area is located. So considered as one major ecosystem found in SBMCHEA and SPCW, which is also considered as a Ramsar site. Mangroves have long been utilized by coastal communities in a variety of ways. So this study will utilize advances in satellite imagery in mapping out the mangrove forests of SPCW and develop scenarios which are essential in planning and development of a participatory ecotourism plan for the site. Objectives of the study are as follows. Identify the mangrove species present in the SPCW, map the mangrove forest using remote sensing and GIS, assess the quality of water using water quality indicators, determine the water use change using remote sensing and GIS, and develop scenarios for ecotourism management. So the materials and methods specifically will be employing the following: mangrove assessment, mangrove mapping using remote sensing, water quality assessment, water use change analysis, and scenario development. So we use the narratives and stories of the respondents in determining the scenarios. So this is our study site in Sasmuan, Pampanga coastal wetlands. So it is consists of primarily of 5 coastal barangays. So for objective number 1, so these are the species in the found in the area. So we have true mangroves and mangrove associates. So that we have identified several species of true mangroves. So the following are Avicennia marina, Acanthus, Bractactus, Nipa, Delicandre spatechia, Cineracia alba, Cineracia cacellaris, Aziredes roem, and Florida. Rhizopora morconata, Rhizopora piculata, Special Populinea, Tipa, Acrocitium. So the sampling site has a total land area of 9,400 square meters. Of all the reported mangrove species, Avicennia marina appeared to be the most frequent, while Rhizopora mucronata observed as the densest and most dominant. Aegiaceras floridum species were considered the rarest, receiving lowest value in all analysis. So species richness is the number of different species found in the study area, and a total of 10 true mangroves species were recorded in the area. So evenness measures of how similar the abundances of different species are in the community. So SPCW achieved a very high evenness of different species. Now, computing for the Shannon-Weiner Diversity Index, this is basically an index used to measure the diversity that combines species richness and their relative abundance. So per calculated Shannon-Weiner index, the area's species diversity appear to be very low. So these are data that we gathered for the water quality analysis. So these are the data during the dry season, for the wet season. So we used an in situ method in gathering the water quality data. So we use the following parameters: pH, temperature, dissolved oxygen, salinity, and turbidity. So the results show that the DO levels are below the acceptable value range of 6 to 10 milligrams per liter. So a DO level below the accepted value cannot sustain the growth and productivity of aquatic life. So many factors can affect the value of DO, like pollution, temperature, and water movement. The higher the level of pollution, the lower the dissolved oxygen concentration. The more movement in the water, so the more oxygen is dissolved. Low temperatures can hold oxygen more than high temperatures. So the difference in the salinity readings between two monitoring periods can be attributable to the water movement that occurred prior to the monitoring activity. So April is a warm month during which no typhoons have made landfall. Meanwhile, on the November visit, Typhoon Paeng brought a considerable volume of water, whereas on the April visit, the tide was low. Additionally, two distinct equipment were employed to collect salinity data. So these are just some of the photos during our field activities. So as seen on the map, mangroves in the region, those that are colored in green, appear to be declining. However, with the assistance of the National Greening Program, those primarily arid regions or those areas in brown are now covered with mangroves. Now, this is the data for the developed scenarios. So, in the scenario development, we consider the following ecotourism management approaches. So, we have LGU-led management, a community-based management, the engagement of private sector in the management, and also last one, a multi-sectoral approach in terms of the management. So we focus on the following parameters: environmental, politics and governance, socioeconomic, sociocultural, and management of the impacts of the tourism, just in case in which particular um, management approach the community prefers. So if the legend shows a positive sign, it is favorable, meaning it is favorable to the community. If it is a negative sign or minus sign, it is not favorable. And if it is an asterisk, we receive mixed responses in developing such scenarios. Now, to summarize this table, the stakeholders, particularly the community, coastal community, they envisioned a multi-sectoral approach for the management of SPCW, as they believe that it will gain more environmental benefits. It will help them in terms of managing the area in terms of politics and governance. It has a more socioeconomic and sociocultural impact. They can, according to them, they can maintain their cultural distinction in each coastal barangay. And in terms of economics, since it's a multi-sectoral approach, there are more opportunities they believe they will achieve in this kind of um, ecotourism management. Now, in terms of management impacts, as they believe that with the help, of course, of the different sectors, managing the ecotourism impacts will be properly regulated. So this is how the stakeholders envision um, the the management of ecotourism in the site. Now, however, at present, the management of the site is particularly the Ramsar site, in particular the Sasmuan Pampanga coastal wetlands, is under the co-management approach between the local government of Sasmuan, um, the five coastal barangays, as well as the the DNR through the Penro office. So this is The group also participated in the planning workshop with Penro and LGU Sasmuan. So the LGU Sasmuan and Penro seek our assistance in developing their plans as well. So these are just some of the notes that we believe that should be considered. That these were also presented during the planning workshop. So there should be a continuous mangrove tree planting on in its appropriate site, because there are some particular mangroves that has to be planted out well. Not all mangroves can stand a particular depth of water and salinity of water. So and there's also a proper designation of area that that is only intended for the ecotourism of the mangroves.